This review was made possible by contributions from viewers like you.
I never knew that our romance had ended until you poisoned my food.
Hey guys, today's movie is a sad and cautionary tale. Sometimes we can't help but look back at the things that we loved from our childhood, and sometimes we want to make something new based off of that, and recapture some of that old magic that was just so glorious. Sometimes that works, and as must be the collective opinion of my executive producers who have voted on today's video, sometimes you get Batman and Harley Quinn. Let's face it, for so many of us, Batman the Animated Series is the final word in anything Batman related. It was dark, it was fun, it was serious, it was silly, it had real-world problems like drugs and otherwise good people suffering from bad days. It had ridiculous nonsense, like killer robots and giant bugs. It was the perfect blend of gritty realism and over-the-top escapism. The animation was gorgeous, the music complemented it beautifully with its gothic undertones and heroic intensity, and all this was capped by the Dark Knight himself, who knew how to be the thing of nightmares for Gotham's underworld while still being a good person. And no, I'm still not over Batman v Superman. Screw you, movie! Of course, Batman went on to do many more TV shows and movies with varying degrees of success, but nothing came close to the quality that the animated series achieved. It would only make sense that eventually the folks at Warner Bros. Animation would want to do a project that recaptured the glory of the series. And thus we have Batman and Harley Quinn, a love letter to the Batman that we all hold so dear within our hearts. Unfortunately, that love letter was not written by Harley Quinn's creator, Paul Dini. You'll soon see what an incredible difference that makes. We open on a panning helicopter shot through the city, very reminiscent of Batman Mask of the Phantasm, but no Gregorian chanting of the Batman theme. Well, we're off to a good start. Oh, wait, we're in Central City? Why make it look so much like Gotham? Why would Poison Ivy be breaking into a lab in Central City instead of Gotham?
Hey, that's not Star Labs. There's way too much security.
Raven and I just finished binge-watching The Flash on Netflix.
And we gotta wait until October for Season 5.
I know, it sucks. Actually, we aren't in Central City, we're in Gotham, but for some reason the movie thought it'd be a good idea to confuse the audience by suggesting Central City and making us think that the Flash might be involved, when it would be all too easy to simply stage this little break-in at Wayne Tech or something. Yes, I know multi-billion-dollar corporations are likely to have establishments in neighboring cities, but if you're going to Metropolis, which billionaire do you think is going to have more real estate? Bruce Wayne or Lex Luthor? Anyway, Poison Ivy here is trying to find some information while the security personnel shoot it out with Jason Woodrue, the Floronic Man. Fans of Atop the Fourth Wall will probably recognize the Floronic Man, whose mission objective is to have lots and lots of sex, and fans of Batman and Robin will probably recognize Jason Woodrue, who is responsible for Poison Ivy's creation, and they're feeling very, very confused. As for me, I'm more weirded out by hearing Woodrue being voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson.
Pamela, we are out of time. The police will be here soon. Or worse.
It's just strange hearing him in a Batman property where he isn't the Joker.
As any opera buff will tell you, it ain't over till the fat lady sings.
It's also in this scene where we run into our first real problem with the movie: terrible characterization.
But it's like trying to find a needle in a haystack.
Sure, Pamela Isley's fields of study are botany and chemistry, not computers, but she couldn't find what she was looking for by hitting Control F? A small point, perhaps, but it's only gonna get worse. Ivy then finds what she was looking for: an article having something to do with Dr. Alec Holland, aka the Swamp Thing. We then cut to an opening credits sequence that looks like it's from The Incredibles? If they want to establish a more lighthearted tone for this movie, then sure, having Shirley Walker's iconic Batman theme isn't the way to go, but then why don't they use Harley's theme music? This sounds like it's going to be another Caped Crusaders movie. And sure, I would love for there to be more movies about the Bright Knight, but I don't want Adam West when you're selling me Kevin Conroy. We cut back to Star Labs as Gotham's finest are left to clean up the mess after Ivy and Woodrue flee the scene. Batman and Nightwing discover the file that Ivy took, and Batman pulls up some security footage from a camera that was just put up in a tree for some reason to fill us in on Dr. Holland's backstory.
His body engulfed in the burning experimental compound. Holland tried to douse the flames. The chemicals reacted with the surrounding bayou. His entire physiognomy changed.
His what changed?
His entire physiognomy changed.
His physiognomy changed? You're just making up words as you go, aren't you? Batman and Nightwing begin the search for Poison Ivy, starting with her known associates.
We need Harley Quinn.
Because Harley Quinn is the only other human being Poison Ivy's ever met?
Last I heard, Harley went off the grid after she got out on parole. No one's heard a thing since. Rumor is she's gone straight, but also just plain gone.
No one disappears without a trace. Someone knows something. Someone always does. It's just a matter of shaking the right tree.
I think what our friend Mr. Batman here is trying to say is, where is he? We then follow Batman to Argus headquarters, where we meet this charming character.
Hey, thanks again for helping us out with that League of Assassins thing in Nanda Parbat. Oof, that Lady Shiva. Wouldn't say no to a slice of that pie, know what I mean?
Warner Brothers, I know you want to have that sought-after PG-13 rating to make people think that you're edgy and all, but really? That was just pure cringe. My god, the animated series had Harley Quinn naked in a giant cream pie, and it was still more subtle than this.
Wanna try some of my pie? I'm sure you'll want seconds.
Anyway, Batman's here because he's looking for a Dr. Harold Goldblum who was recently abducted. You'd think that the world's greatest detective would be able to figure out his whereabouts without the aid of the Men in Black, but whatever.
I need to know what he was working on.
I'm sorry, Batman. That's classified. My hands are tied.
Strange that you would put it just that way. A fringe hacker group recently accessed information about key Argus employees. Some of them seem to be engaged in, shall we say, questionable nocturnal activities.
Are you blackmailing me?
I'm explaining that I can help stop a crime in exchange for some information.
Fine. But for the record, what Mistress Ilsa does for me is considered therapy. In some countries.
Did Batman just pump that guy for information by threatening to reveal details about his sex life? Who exactly are you to judge, Bats?
Oh, by the way, I've pressed your tights and put away your exploding gas balls.
After learning nothing of value, and thereby making the scene completely pointless, we jump over to Nightwing as he hits up random people asking if they've seen Harley.
She had the cutest smile.
Morty, that was your niece, Irene. Always saying she looks like this Harley Quinn, but I don't see it.
And an adorable Turkish.
Morty!
Thank you, movie. We needed some horny old man checking out his niece's ass. Then, for no reason whatsoever, Nightwing decides to scope out this place called Super Babes. Okay, you want to tell me that there's a Hooters-like bar in the Bruce Timm animated universe? Fine, I'll believe it. But in a world where hot-headed billionaire Karen Starr, aka Power Girl, exists, how's this place not been sued into the Stone Age? Maybe they can get away with it if their costumes are just off enough so they aren't exact copies, which might explain the purple-suited Jim Ballant Catwoman. But then they do have these other images of heroes in all their official splendor plastered all over the place. And Riddler, and probably some other villains too. Is anyone else remembering that there was an entire episode of the animated series about the Joker wanting to destroy a casino for using his image without his consent? If the heroes can't sue this place, I'm pretty sure the Riddler would have bombed it by now.
Those are super hooters.
And where are the bouncers? They couldn't have their own Batman or Superman watching the place to make sure that the customers don't grope the waitresses and subsequently get their wrists broken? Nightwing follows this waitress home, and surprise, surprise, she turns out to be the real Harley Quinn.
Come on out, I know you're there.
This kid was trained by Batman. How did she hear him coming? Nightwing's attempts at getting information out of Harley quickly escalates into a fight, and you may have noticed that Harley sounds a little different. Sadly, her original voice actress and inspiration, Arlene Sorkin, has retired from voice acting. Filling in for Ms. Sorkin is The Big Bang Theory's Melissa Rauch, who is okay, but why not go with voice actress Tara Strong, who's just as famous for doing Harley as she is Batgirl? This movie's already got Kevin Conroy as Batman and Lauren Lester as Nightwing, so why not Tara Strong for Harley?
I should just drag your crazy ass back to jail right now.
Oh, yeah? Just freaking try it, butt wipe!
Butt wipe. I know that Harley Quinn can be a very childlike character, but really? Unfortunately for Nightwing, Harley gets the upper hand on him.
Ready to call it a night, Harley?
What's so funny, Chuckles? Some girls like mace. I prefer a little low-grade Joker venom. Only useful thing I ever got from that ass hat.
1. Why didn't you open with that? Agree to help him, shake his hand, and then prick, he's Jokerized. 2. The Joker is your entire reason for being. Why are you calling him an asshat? Nightwing wakes up tied to her bed, just in time for some of the clunkiest exposition I've ever heard.
I know, frickin' stupid. Bringing him back to my place. But what was I supposed to do? I couldn't just let him go. He knows the secret location of my hidey hole. He'd blab to Batman for sure. Could've just killed him, dumbass.
In her more recent run of comics, they have Harley explaining things to a stuffed beaver as a means of providing exposition. Could they not have the same thing here, except maybe she's talking to a little Joker plushie or something? Nightwing still thinks she's a criminal, but Harley explains that she really has gone straight, but it's hard for her to find better, more dignified work with the history she has.
Evidently, the Mayo Clinic's got some dumb policy of not hiring former costume supervillains. Just like every other hospital in the world.
There are other jobs.
Oh, sure. I got a ton of offers. We got a very special role for you in Bad Girls After Dark. And you gotta love this one. A tasteful pictorial to be shot in Thailand for legal reasons.
This would be a good time for Nightwing to do what Batman might do and offer to pull some strings with the psychiatric community so that she might find work as a doctor again when this is all over, but instead Harley decides that she'd rather just jump his bones.
Little boy wonder all grown up.
Okay now, don't be getting any funny ideas.
Too late. It's funny, I always kind of thought you and Batman didn't like girls.
You were there when the Joker captured Catwoman and lured Batman into a trap by threatening to turn her into cat food. You know that Batman and Robin like girls. And anyway, you just pointed out that you remember Robin back when he was the Boy Wonder. Considering how you're romantically involved with the Joker, along with his weird quasi-romantic relationship with Batman, this is like coming on to your baby brother. After some banter between Poison Ivy and Woodrue, where they talk about their motivations to save the world by changing humanity into plant life, we find Batman looking for Nightwing, who has yet to report in.
Oh God, no! Stop! Stop!
You stop it! You're gonna make me pee! Oh, how about that? You ticklish that?
Ugh, why couldn't this be all that they did? Harley's got Nightwing tied to her bed. She says that she's gonna make him pay for sending her up the river. We cut to Batman stalking through the halls, and then we hear Nightwing cry out, "No! No, not that! Please stop!" And then Batman finds her tickling him. That's all that this needed to be. Since they can't leave Harley alone or else she might tip off Ivy, Batman and Nightwing bring her along for the ride.
Here, there's a little trick to it.
Hey, watch the hands, Buster Brown.
Sorry, I was just...
Jeez, 20 minutes of naughty fun time and they think they own you.
I wasn't. I was just trying to...
Look, maybe I'll call you sometime, okay? Like when I'm out of batteries or something.
Did you get it? It's a sex joke! This is a mature movie! Batman deduces that Ivy and Woodrow are trying to recreate the formula that made the Swamp Thing so that they can unleash it on the world.
What? Ew, look, don't get me wrong. I ain't no racist. I mean, some of my best friends are plant people.
Don't most people say, "I ain't no racist," and then they follow it up with something that probably does sound kinda racist?
They're just saying whatever they can for that PG-13.
Harley thinks they should hit up one of Ivy's top henchmen. She stops the car after spotting said henchman, and after a long chase scene through the city, it's revealed that this is not Ivy's top henchman, just some guy that I guess Harley was dating. Thanks for the 3 minutes of padding, movie.
Pull a stupid stunt like that again, and I'm dumping you off at the nearest police station.
Oh, big whoop. You're living under my roof. You play by my rules. Is that it? Newsflash, Gruesome. You ain't my dad.
This isn't a game, Harley. There are lives at stake.
You think I'm just some dizzy airhead that don't know nothing. Do you know what I am?
My punishment for dropping out of med school.
Dropping out of med school? Batman has spent decades training his mind to be the ultimate weapon in his war on crime. When does Batman drop out of anything? Harley says that she'll really take them to find Ivy's top henchman, which leads them out of Gotham. Unfortunately, Harley ate some bad hot wings before Batman and Nightwing got to her, which means that we get to enjoy this fun little scene.
Oh, holy...
It's not so bad. Smells like discipline.
How does a fart smell like discipline?
Maybe that's why they don't have Tara Strong playing Harley. This movie's beneath her.
They go to this random shack in the middle of nowhere, which for some reason is the biggest hotspot for the henchmen of Gotham supercriminals, including Ubu, who should be doing Ra's al Ghul's bidding somewhere with the League of Assassins, a couple of Catwoman goons right out of the 1960s, the rebuilt Captain Clown and Rhonda Duane, weirdest shipping ever, Catwoman's personal assistant, Maven. What is she doing here when she should be arranging Catwoman's latest environmental protest? And these two, who worked for Two-Face, who are singing about being in love with each other despite their being twin brothers. And oh my god, look at where he's holding that microphone! And wait a minute. The whole point of Batman recruiting Harley Quinn was that she was Poison Ivy's best-known associate, right? She takes them to this shack just so they can look for one of her henchmen? She's rendered her own role in this movie completely meaningless. Anyway, she finds the guy she was looking for, who never once appeared in the entire series because that makes sense, but before he can tell them where to find Ivy, he asks her to do one little favor. And surprisingly, it's not that he'd take her out behind the shack to bang out a quick one. Put on your nostalgia goggles, people. They're gonna have her sing Say That We're Sweethearts again.
I'm in the phone booth, it's the one across the hall.
Or they're gonna have her sing a Blondie song, that works too. And Batman likes it? Come on, everyone knows that Batman thinks rock and roll is evil.
Punk is nothing but death, and crime, and the rage of a beast.
Then this Catwoman goon starts mocking the animated series Batman with the Bat-2C. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever! Harley gets the information that she needed, but they gotta get through all these various goons first.
You put a lot of our buddies in the slammer, Batfink. Only way you're getting out of here is in a black plastic bag with a zipper up the front.
Okay, boys. Let's dance.
One, Batman will never take his utility belt off when he's about to face a room full of goons. 2, why do they have him give the creepy Frank Miller smile? Batman doesn't like hurting people. 3, thanks for giving us a fight scene that we don't actually see. I guess that last scene of Harley shaking her goodies ate up the rest of the animation budget. 4, are these sound effects supposed to be an homage to the original Batman show? Adam West is spinning in his proverbial grave right now! And yes, I know that Adam West was cremated and his ashes were scattered at sea, but you get my point. Then they take a cue from Val Kilmer and stop at a drive-thru somewhere. Why didn't Harley Quinn get a kid's meal? That'd be appropriately funny. After some unfunny banter between Batman and Booster Gold, which does nothing but make Batman look like an asshole, we jump back to Poison Ivy and Woodrue, who still have yet to perfect their formula for turning animal life into planimal life. The doctor they kidnapped to help them theorizes that they need the same kind of swamp water that made the Swamp Thing in order for their treatment to work.
The lagoon feeds directly into the Gulf of Mexico, where the Gulf Stream currents will carry the virus into the greater Atlantic, and then the world. Mother Earth's salvation. Ground Zero.
Batman, Nightwing, and Harley crash the party, a fight scene ensues, and the Doctor wakes up from Ivy's kiss-based hypnotism.
He's waking up. I need to keep him hypnotized.
No. Occam's razor.
No, that's a scientist that you decided to arbitrarily kill. Not the simplest and most probable explanation.
Red! You can't leave me here, Pammy. You know my skin. I burn easy.
That idiot meat skank betrayed you, Pamela.
Idiot meat skank? Why is it that every other line of dialogue is dripping with trying too hard? So yeah, they get away, and the scientist that no one knows anything about dies right in front of them. Aw, that's cute. The movie's trying to give us a serious moment. Too little, too late.
Oh man, I'm beat. How you doing, Nightwing? Oh, right. Nightwing. Sorry. It's like that thing when you can't remember if it's supposed to be there with E-I-R or there with Y''R'. You know you got a 50-50 chance of getting it right, but somehow you always pick the wrong.
1. Harley Quinn has a doctorate in psychology. She knows which there to use. 2. There's also there spelled T-H-E-R-E, meaning that there's a 1 in 3 chance of getting it right, not 50-50. Batman summons the Batwing to take them to Louisiana, but Harley objects to being left behind.
You need me, Batman. That's right. You need me. You saw how tough Plant Guy is, tossing you guys around like raggedy dolls. If he kicks your butts again, then what?
Enough! I can't trust you.
But I thought... I mean,
You're the walking definition of loose cannon, Harley. For all I know, you might decide at the last minute that Ivy's plan doesn't sound so cockeyed after all. Because the wind changed direction, or because it's Thursday.
You know, even a hard-ass like Batman is going to give a loose screw like Harley Quinn the benefit of the doubt. In the episode, Harley's Holiday, Harley makes a legitimate effort to go straight, but through a series of misunderstandings, she snaps and reverts back to her life of crime after thinking that the world is just out to get her. At the end of the episode, Batman shows her a little sympathy, explaining that he too once had a bad day. How is it that the same Batman who is the penultimate incarnation of the character keeps getting so much of being Batman wrong? After she pleads with them to let her help, Batman finally lets her on board.
God help us.
You know that somewhere under all that crazy is a good person who can help you and who has helped you. Why are you so uptight about this?
Because it works for the movie?
Except that it's based on the animated series that has all this backstory to it, so no, it doesn't really work for this movie. They catch up with Ivy and Woodrue, they get into another fight, and honestly, I'm surprised that Harley and Ivy are really fighting each other, instead of the two of them just beating each other up with their boobs or something. Ivy soon gets the upper hand, but Harley still has one more card left to play.
You're gonna make me do it, aren't you? Well, when this is all over, just remember, I gave you a chance.
What are you...
No, that's right, sweetie. The nuclear option.
You promised me you'd never... Harley, I'm warning you. Don't you dare! I hate you so much.
Works every time. Phew.
You know what's really sad? This could have actually worked. This would have been a lot more palpable if Harley started crying from a combination of being hurt from the fight and horrified to see the genocidal monster that Ivy has become. Ivy then backs down after seeing how badly she's hurt her one and only friend in the whole world. Then they have themselves a good little cry together as they reaffirm their friendship. That would have been really powerful and touching. But this? If this is something that Harley can just turn on and off, and apparently she's used it so many times that Ivy can see it coming a mile away, this shouldn't have the effect on her that it apparently does. She should be able to recognize that Harley is just putting on an act. This should not have worked. Woodrue proceeds to carry out their plan on his own since Ivy's no longer on board, but when all hope seems lost...
Jason Woodrue. The Earth has indeed suffered at the hands of mankind. However, this is not the way to right the wrongs done to Mother Gaia. Though your cause is just, your actions have upset the balance in the green.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yes. Watch. Betcha he's gonna turn Plant Guy into a stump or something.
But it is not my place to judge.
Wait, what?
All will be as it will be. I return now to the Parliament of Trees to seek the hidden truths at the center of eternity.
No, don't go!
To know unknowable nature in all its infinite splendors.
Screw unknowable nature! Kick his butt! Well, that was a big-ass bucket of nothing.
Took the words right out of my mouth. With no one to stand in his way, Woodrue resumes his plan to contaminate the water. So how do Batman and Nightwing stop him?
Well, he's all leafy and everything. Anybody got a match? Oh, shucks.
I'm not kidding. This is really how the movie ends. Harley suggests they light him on fire, They hint that there might be a Batman, Nightwing, Harley three-way in their future. The end credits start rolling, and then we briefly cut back to Woodrue on fire. Because remember, Batman loves murdering his enemies, doesn't he? And I'll be the first to admit that I know nothing of the anatomy of plant people, but I imagine that someone like the Floronic Man would want to stay well hydrated. You'd think he'd be a little harder to set on fire than this. But despite the closing credits, we're not done yet. We get a little Easter egg after the credits are done rolling, wherein Harley is now the host of a TV show where she says that she's helping people deal with their emotional problems, but it's less like Dr. Phil and more like the Most Extreme Elimination Challenge. I can see her pulling this kind of crap if she was still Harley Quinn and she wanted to play a joke on whoever was pissing her off at the moment. But as Dr. Harley Quinzel, why isn't she trying to take herself more seriously? That was the whole point of that earlier scene where she was talking to Nightwing about how little opportunities she has since going legit, wasn't it? To show how she wanted to be taken seriously as a psychiatrist, and for us to sympathize with her and hope that she can get back to helping people like she was before? What is the point of this?
I am legally required to remind you that my doctorate is purely honorary, and I am not a currently accredited mental health professional.
Why wouldn't you be an accredited mental health professional? Are you telling me that after all of that, Batman couldn't pull some strings to get you back on your feet in your original profession? And no, your doctorate was real! You are not going to get a job as a psychiatrist in Arkham frickin' Asylum with an honorary doctorate! So that was Batman and Harley Quinn, and this whole movie feels like a bad joke. It's nice seeing a new Batman movie with Bruce Timm's visual aesthetic, and it's fun hearing Kevin Conroy playing the Dark Knight himself once again, but otherwise, this movie is awful! It doesn't know how to be funny, it doesn't know how to be dramatic, it completely botches these characters we all know and love, and the plot is so simple and paper-thin that there's no reason for Batman to have brought Harley Quinn on this at all, when he should have been able to figure out how to get Poison Ivy all on his own. This movie is nothing but a waste of time! In closing, save yourself the irritation of this movie and stick to watching Batman the Animated Series. Now, if you'll excuse me, there's somewhere that I need to be, and I'm running a little bit late. See you later.
I never knew that our romance had ended until you poisoned my food. And I thought it was a lark when you kicked me in the park. But now I think it was rude. I never knew that you and I were finished until that bottle hit my head. Though I tried to be aloof when you pushed me off the roof, I feel our romance is dead. It wouldn't have been so bad if you told me that someone had suddenly taken my place. Huh. But no, you didn't even scold me. You just tried to disfigure my face. You'll never know how this heart of mine is breaking. It looks so hopeless, but then our life could still be sweet and placid if you just put down that acid and say we're sweethearts again. Remember that night in Bridgeport when the moon shone down on both of us and the breeze sang a love song, and you looked at me and I looked at you and you didn't know what to do, so you broke my leg? I thought there was sort of a strange look in your eyes, but then you smiled and it made everything all right. Then there was that lovely time when we went canoeing and you set fire to my dress. You said you pushed me overboard to put out the flames, but I could never quite understand why you held my head underwater so long. Of course, I've never met this person who's taken my place, but I want you to know that I wish you all the luck in the world. And if there's anything I can do, anything at all, you can reach me in room 304 at the General Hospital. Farewell, my sweet. You'll never know how this heart of mine is breaking. It looks so hopeless, but then Our love is great. No love can match it. Darling, please put down that hatchet and say we're sweethearts again.
I am Bob Show, and I approve of the following message. Why am I reading this?
Next month, instead of a standard Q&A for Bob Show's $10 and up patrons, we're switching things up. We're going to play a game called This or That, where I'll ask Bob Show a series of either-or questions.
Questions? Baby, what are you...
But here's where you patrons get to play along. We're going to put the questions up on Patreon, and you get to try to guess Bob Show's answers. Copy and paste the questions along with your guesses into an email and send them to bobshow@gmail.com. We'll announce the date by which they should be received along with the questions. The patron or patrons with the most correct answers will receive a prize, an original piece of artwork signed by Bob Show.
I gotta draw something now? What's going on?
And if you're not already a $10 or more patron, there's still time for you to get in on the fun. Go to patreon.com/BobShow and make your first monthly pledge before submitting your guesses. And as Bob Show himself would say, I'll see you later.
Subscribe, like, follow, comment, share, watch more.